Well, welcome to a video from PtchLifestyle.com. This is a new sound set for the Korg Modwave. This is the Elka Synthex set. These were samples that were sent to me by Shane Parker, and he's happy with me distributing these. So he said, can you use these in a collection? So that's what I've did. So this is a set of samples that are taken from a Synthex, the Elka Synthex. That's the Italian synth from 1981, famously used by Jean-Michel Jarre. The Laser Harp sound, which you heard at the beginning of the video. And so he gave me those raw samples. I packaged them up, put them into the Korg Modwave format. There's going to be a separate set for the wave state as well, so don't worry if you've got wave state, you'll get these sounds as well. You can load them in through the Korg sample builder, and you see them all there. And then there's a selection of performances. There's 44 performances and a lot of programs as well to include them. So in this video, I'm going to demonstrate those. So thanks for Shane for sending me those in. So most of these names of the performances are taken from the actual sample name. Some of them are slightly different because I've combined them and done a few extra things with it. So let me start by demonstrating some of these sounds. So that's called Bass Pluck 2, the sample, but actually it works quite nice high up as well, but you can use it as a bass sound. Most of these are using a single oscillator as well when in these performances. There are some that are using dual, like this one, which I've used just to fatten up the sound a bit, or I've done a bit of pitch tuning to do that, but you could easily scale this back to one. So it's just a bit richer with the two. So you can incorporate these samples into your own performances. So this one is big brass. This is a custom one because I've combined two sawtooths here. So later on you'll hear the single version, but this is the combined. You'll notice there is a pitch envelope on one of the oscillators, on the top sawtooth, the oscillator one. You can hear that pitch. So that pitch, it just gives it that sort of nice analog sound to it. And that sort of big sound by using that sort of pitch envelope on there. This is another one that's a custom one. This is called Bright World. And this one is combining a sawtooth and Pianet sample. So this is just one of the straight samples, cello, Synthex cello, single oscillator. And actually this one sounds very Gary Newman, almost. It's very sort of early 80s, isn't it? That's which is when the synth was from. They made it from 81 to 85. So that's quite a useful sound, a usable sound as well. It's a single oscillator as well, so you can combine that. Then we've got some chimes. It's a nice sort of synth bell type sound. Then I've got a choral. Which is kind of choral, isn't it? But it's because the Elka was an analog synth, so no samples in there. So you can kind of hear that effect, can't you? Two clavinet chords. That one sounds very square wave to me. And then clavichord 2. The clavichord 2, what I've done is I've combined the clavichord 2 sample twice. I've layered it twice with a bit of pitch tuning and an octave tuning. So I've got it on its own and then the combined. Just gives it a bit more bottom end with the combined one. Then we've got a clavinet, single oscillator on this one. Doesn't sound anything like a clavinet to me, but it is a really good, interesting sound. And one called double bass, which is a really great sort of analog synth sound. And again, that's a single oscillator. What I've done on here is with the mod control, there's the single oscillator version, and then you can introduce a second oscillator. And the double piano is a similar technique. I'm using the same electric piano sample twice, just octave apart. Doesn't sound much like electric piano, but it is quite an interesting sound. Tangerine Dream. Probably sound quite good with an arpeggiator as well. Then we've got just the standard electric piano. You could make it sound more electric piano-like by altering the envelope, but that's the way the sound was in the sample. Electric piano 2. Filtered chorus. So this sample is called filtered chorus, and I've laid it up as well, just had a bit of separation in the tuning. You could achieve the same effect by putting them into the unison mode. So here's one, the same layers, but I've put a bit of filter envelope on there and detune. So it's the same one, but with the filter on it. Funky Clav. Probably, to make it sound like more Clav, I've just dropped that envelope down a bit. But the original sample has got a long release on it, so I thought I'd include that. Again, it's a good sort of analog synth sound. I've got a high pass sweep. What I've done is high pass sweep, and the Synthex has got a high pass filter on it, and that's what you can hear there. The filter on the Modwave is pretty much open, so it's all coming from the sample. The Laser Harp, which I mentioned at the beginning. So it's actually using the Ring Mod 2 sample. And what I've done on the mod control is just to bring that second oscillator in. So it adds a bit of grit to it. This one is using the filter. So using the high pass sweep and the Sawtooth. Metallic Pi, I think, was metallic piano on the original. This is a custom patch called Moment, which I'm using a couple of the PWM waves on this one. So there you can hear the PWM on the arpeggiator and the soft pad layer coming from a sawtooth, just a filtered sawtooth. So it's a really nice sort of pad sound with that as well. Pianet. Now we've got pulse width modulation. So including the samples, there are 4 pulse width modulation sounds with different pulse widths. What I've done on this one is I've put on oscillator 1 PWM4 and oscillator 2 PWM4. Actually, the difference is one of them is a -4, I think the other's a +4, and I've used an LFO being controlled by an LFO. So it's quite a thin sound, but the envelope or the oscillator levels being switched by LFO 2, which itself is being controlled by LFO 1. Or the other way around. Oscillator 1 is doing the morphing, or the levels, and oscillator 2 is controlling the frequency of oscillator 1. Oh. Similar technique on this one, but there's no LFO to increase or decrease the speed. It's just a straight switch in between the +2 and -2 waves. And then we've got the waves on their own. So this is the +2 one. We've got the +4, which is very thin right at the end. I think that's kind of 99%. -2 and -4. Resonant brass sound using the sawtooth wave, 2-pole low pass filter with some resonance. Ring chimes is using the Chimes samples which you heard earlier on. I put 2 of them together and with some ring mod on them to give it a bit more of a digital sort of flavour. So this is ring chimes, uses 2 of the chimes layers with a bit of ring mod to give it a bit more interesting effect. Ring mod 2 is the sample that is the Laser Harp. And then the sawtooth, which I've played a few times now, and that's just a plain sawtooth. Nice sawtooth there. A pitch sawtooth. You can hear that pitch envelope. So there we've got a pitch sawtooth. So here's a couple sequence ones. So I've sequenced, you hear the kick there, which I've sequenced, and the Sawtooth and a PWM using the motion sequencer to create that effect. Quite like that one. And we've got this is another one that uses the Laser Harp. We've got the soft Sawtooth I showed in one of the layer ones before. There's a nice sort of pad sound on there. Square wave. A single square wave as well. There's no this sort of phasing effect you can hear on there. It's just the Sawtooth itself, the sample. Because that stab brass sound. Got a stabby brass sound. And a sweet brass. We've got a high pass sweep. Not because I'm using a high pass filter, but it's because there's one sample that's got the high pass on it. Tremelo Piano. A simple triangle wave. The idea behind these, you can build these into your own performances. And vibes. Violins to finish off. A nice sort of string sound on there. So that's the selection. You've got 44 performances on there. Download from thedigital-lifestyle.com. Thanks to Shane Parker for sending the samples in so that I could then create those performances. I've done the looping and the mapping. There's actually 6 samples in each one of these as well. So 6 layers or 6 zones on the keyboard. You can see those on here. So I've just usually split them like that. To get them onto your Modwave, open Sample Builder, open my file like this, and then you can then send those over to your Modwave. If you've already got your own sample bank, then it's just a question of opening your bank and adding the multi-samples which I provide, and you'll see them all in here. There we go. They're all there. So if you've got your own bank, you can do that. I maintain one bank and just can add them to those banks. I've got a full video on how to do all the sample transfers and managing banks and everything else. So if you're not quite sure, please check that out, because that will help you. So there you go. There's the Modwave Elka set. I have got some more that Shane sent me over so I can do a volume 2 of these, but first I'll have the volume 1 out for the Wave State. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Thanks to all our supporters, especially the Patreon supporters, or anybody that's bought one of the sample packs or the sound packs from thedigital-lifestyle.com. I'll see you on the next video.